boa noite. Welcome to another podcast of Portuguese with Carla. Podcast 22. I'm Carla Sabala, and again, we have Marlon Sabala with us.
Yes, as always.
Yeah, and we have another guest today. Once again, Marcio Medina.
I am back. Hello, everyone.
That is right. Okay, so we're going to carry on the scene, but I don't know if Marlon has a few things to say before we actually dive straight into this.
Not a few things, just one really, that you would go to portuguesewithcarla.com/podcast 22, is that right? Mm-hmm. 22. So ptwithcarla.com/22 if you want the transcript. And actually, we've added something else from podcast 21. You also have not just the podcast on the page, so the audio of it, but also the audio just for the bit of the dialogue. So that's separate. And you can just listen to that on a loop to do our shadowing exercise. We might touch on that a bit later. But anyway, yes, I think I'm starting. Is that right?
Yeah, but just let's just explain what's going on this scene briefly. So last time we were at the hospital and you were told that you'd broken your leg and now we needed to get some crutches.
Yes. So you are just leaving the car. I'm staying in the car because I can't really walk. I could hop in, but I'm not going to do that. So you're going to go in the shop. I'm going to stay in the car. We just have a word or two before you leave. All right. So I'm going to... Yeah, it's my line here. Okay, good. Eu não sei qual é o preço daquilo, mas tenta não gastar mais de 20 euros.
Sim, está bem. Mas sabes que o barato sai caro. Loja Ortopédica Madeira. É mesmo esta.
Bom dia. Faça favor.
Bom dia. Precisava de umas muletas para o meu marido. Umas muletas confortáveis, mas não muito dispendiosas.
Muito bem. Portanto, temos dois tipos. Axilares, para debaixo do braço. Está a ver? E as de antebraço, são mais conhecidas como canadianas. Qual é que prefere?
As canadianas parecem mais confortáveis.
Sim, concordo. Então temos dois modelos. Estas a 32,50€ de carbono e as de alumínio a um preço mais acessível. Ficam a 19,90€ o par.
São mesmo essas, servem perfeitamente. Aceita um cartão Visa?
Com certeza. E deseja mais alguma coisa?
Não, é tudo.
Certo. Então são 19,90€, por favor.
Okay, that's lovely. And this is the scene for today. Righty, so we say thank you to Marcio again. Thank you
Always
very much.
My pleasure. Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me again.
It's brilliant. And maybe one day we'll have Natalie.
Yeah, she's smiling in the background.
Yeah.
Hi, Natalie. You're right.
My brother's girlfriend,
Having a 10th cup of tea today.
We'll teach her a few Portuguese words and she can join us. There'll be a different accent in, so that'll be good. Okay. Thank you. See you later.
Guys. Bye-bye.
Cheerio. Right, Marlon, are you ready to translate this thing?
I am ready, Carl.
Okay, you start us off.
I don't know what the price of that is, but try not to spend more than 20 euros.
Yes, okay, but you know that o barato sai caro. We'll talk about that expression later. Orthopedic Shop Madeira. This is the one.
Good morning. Can I help?
Good morning. I need some crutches for my husband. Some comfortable crutches, but not too expensive.
Very well. So we have two types. The auxiliary ones, the ones under your arm. Do you see? And also the ones, the elbow ones, also known as Canadian crutches. Which do you prefer?
The Canadian crutches, they seem to be more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. So we have two models. These at 32.50 euros of carbon, and the aluminium ones at a more reasonable price. They would be 19.90 for the pair.
Those are the ones. They serve the purpose perfectly.
Right, that's a very literal translation.
Yes. Oh, they serve the purpose, perfectly. Do you take a credit card?
Of course. Would you like anything else?
No, it's everything.
Right. Well, that will be 19.90, please.
All right.
Very good. So that's the English translation. So now we'll go through the whole thing and try to
break this
do
down,
the pronunciation, and help you to build up also the knowledge of vocabulary. A few words, a few numbers there, and also one of those not in a textbook words too. So I start off. So I say to Carla, eu não sei qual é o preço daquilo. I don't know what the price of that is. So daquilo, let me do the pronunciation first. I'll just explain that in a second. So, daquilo, preço daquilo. É o preço daquilo. Eu não sei. I don't know. Eu não sei. Which? Qual? Eu não sei qual é. Eu não sei qual é o preço daquilo. And again, eu não sei qual é o preço daquilo. Now the word aquilo, which is what, Carla?
A demonstrative pronoun.
Okay.
That. Over there.
Yeah, it's interesting because... Sorry, Carla.
Yeah, I was going to say we have two that's, isso and aquilo. Aquilo is that over there, far away from both you who are speaking and the person you're speaking to. That's why it's that over there.
Yeah.
But then you have the isso, which would be the object that is far away from you, again, who are speaking, but it's close to the person you're speaking to. That's, that you've got next to you. Can you hand it over, please? Something like that.
And then we have one that's near us, the
near
subject speaking.
The speaker, yeah.
So
Isto.
that would be isto.
And these are the indeterminates. They have no gender. You have the masculine form of that, and you have the feminine form of that. Este, esse, aquele. Those are the masculine forms, and the feminine forms, esta, essa, aquela.
Yeah. It's more
There's
complicated.
A lot there, isn't there? Yeah.
I was teaching this to a student just on Saturday, and the way we did it, because they were struggling to grasp, because of course in English you really only have two, this and that, was to just write or draw a triangle, and on one of the triangles you had the subject, the person speaking, or one of the corners of the triangle. The other one you had the subject, and in the other little corner of the triangle, that would be the thing that's not near you or the person. And then you write isto, aquilo, and isso, if that makes sense. Anyway, the aquilo would be the thing that is neither near me or Carla.
It's in the shop, so it's far away. Yeah.
So, mas tenta não gastar mais de 20 euros, but try not to spend more than 20 euros. 20. 20.
How would you say it in a more natural way?
20 euros.
20.
20.
Not 20.
Right. The E at the end gets dropped oftentimes.
20.
It's because it's VINTE. But yeah, the finally it just goes. 20 euros. Ok? Não gastar mais. Não gastar mais. Não gastar mais de 20 euros. Mas tenta, but try. Mas tenta não gastar mais de 20 euros. So let's try and say the whole thing. Eu não sei qual é o preço daquilo. Mas tenta não gastar mais de 20 euros. Ok. Fala.
Okay, so I say, yeah, sim, está bem. Yes, okay, basically, está bem. It's, well, it's okay. And again, sim, está bem. We'll often say tá bem. We'll drop the es even from está bem. So you might hear, if you're in Portugal, or if you hear Portuguese speaking, you might hear this word tá, which means está, meaning it is. Sim, está bem. Mas sabes que o barato sai caro. Mas sabes que... Mas sabes que, but you know that.
Okay.
Mas sabes que.
And do you want me to put this on? This is one of the not in a textbook
That's
words.
it. O barato sai caro.
O barato sai caro. Literal meaning.
The cheap comes out expensive.
The colloquial meaning.
Buying a cheap version of a given item often results in paying more at the end.
An equivalent expression in English could be
You get what you pay for.
in context.
Deciding to buy an inferior quality tablet for its low price lure, and a week later, in sheer frustration of the slowness of the thing, being driven to purchase an iPad. You might be told, o barato sai caro.
That was good timing.
Which is a surprise for me. I don't think I have much rhythm, but...
No, that was good.
Okay,
So there we go. O barato sai caro.
that is right. O barato sai caro. So the cheap comes out expensive, literally. You get what you pay for. Mas sabes que o barato sai caro. Over to you. Oh no, over back to me.
Yeah, because you walk to the shop and you see the
and I'm
the sign.
murmuring to myself or talking to myself.
Yes.
And I spot the shop that I want. Loja ortopédica, orthopedic shop. Loja ortopédica Madeira, being the name of the shop. Very original. Loja ortopédica. Loja ortopédica Madeira. It's this one. It's how do we say this? How did I translate it earlier? É mesmo esta.
This is the one.
This is the one. Okay. É mesmo esta. Here you are. There you are. Esta.
Literally would be é mesmo esta. It's really this one.
Yeah, that's right.
Notice
This
esta.
is the one would be the right in English.
Esta because it's near you.
Yeah. The shop is
Esta.
close to
If
me
the shop
and it's
was-
feminine.
Sorry.
It's the shop. Loja. So é mesmo esta loja, if I was to complete the sentence.
So let's do an exercise. Carla, let's say the shop was near me. What would you say?
Essa.
And if it was near nobody else?
Okay, far away from the two of us.
Yes.
Aquela.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so
it's-
that's it. É mesmo esta. É mesmo esta. Notice the S from mesmo. It doesn't happen very often, this, but the S there sounds like the S in the word, in the English word measure. Mesmo. Measure. Do you see that?
Bit of a J sound.
In English, in Portuguese, it's the J sound, but you know.
And why is that?
Because it's before an M, and that the same thing happens before a D. And I think the English do this as well. You know, like the word off or off, OF. I'm fond of you. They don't say of you, do they?
So it moves into another consonant, is that what you say?
Yeah, just a different sound. Only because I remember you reading a book on or an article on this, how sometimes the sound of letters would change. Do you not remember? You were talking to me about this a while ago, months ago, and I can't remember exactly what you said.
My memory's pretty bad, yeah.
But that's what you were saying, that sometimes the sound of letters will change in different languages, depending on the letter that comes after. Can't speak English.
Yeah, I think the principle is that it's where your tongue is. So, for example, if you're saying mês, the letter, the consonant S, the tongue is at the bottom of your mouth, mês, or in the middle, right there.
Mish.
Right? But
Closer to your teeth.
exactly. But if you're doing the letter M, the consonant M, right? M
Is further away from your teeth.
Is further back. So the J is nearer the M. So in preparation for making
J is
the
in
M sound, so your brain is thinking, well, I've got to do the M consonant. So let me go from the S to
Simplify
the M.
things, make it easier.
And between the S and the M, there's a J. So that's why it becomes the...
You keep saying J,
mês.
but, a lot of people think that the J, because in Spanish, they've learned other languages, and the J has a sound of I or Y.
I'm thinking
so
about
the
the
J is
Portuguese
in J.
J sound, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Does that make it more confused?
Well, hopefully it hasn't, but
Yeah.
shall we move on swiftly?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Right, it's my turn anyway, isn't it? Yes. Bom dia, faça favor. So, bom dia, good day, but really we use it for good morning. Bom dia, faça favor. Faça favor. Literally,
do the favor.
Do the favor. What we're actually saying is...
do the favor of telling me how I can help you, or what would you like?
Yeah. We could have said, which I think is how we translated, how can I help you? Como posso ajudá-lo? But faça favor is also very, very, very common.
It's common, yeah. Faça favor. It's short, and practical and straight to the point. Faça favor. Do the favor. Tell me. How can I help you?
Bom dia. Faça favor.
Okay, so I reply, bom dia. Precisava de umas muletas para o meu marido. I needed... I should say I need... But oftentimes the Portuguese use the imperfect past, and this is what I'm using here on this verb, precisar, to need. And that's because when... that's for polite requests that we use the imperfect past. So rather than sounding demanding by using the present tense, I need some crutches for my husband, then I can use the imperfect past without even using the word please and still sound polite, if that makes sense. Precisava de umas muletas. Precisava de umas muletas para o meu marido. Para o meu marido. Para o meu marido. For my husband. Para o meu marido. Notice the definite article before meu. And Portuguese Brazilian, they don't tend to do that, to use the article. They would just say para meu marido. But the Portuguese European do tend to use the article before.
Para meu marido.
Pronouns. Oh my goodness, you made me jump.
Right.
So, okay, so I was going to say, precisava de umas muletas para o meu marido. There, de umas, sometimes we have the word dumas. These two combine. To be honest, I cannot remember when they combine, but in speech, I think they will always combine. You would say, precisava de umas muletas. Or you may say, like I just said earlier, precisava de umas muletas. But oftentimes, dumas. And you may see it together, but I just can't remember when do you join them and when you don't. Okay, so let's repeat that line. Precisava de umas ou dumas muletas para o meu marido. And then... umas muletas confortáveis, some comfortable crutches, umas muletas confortáveis, mas não muito dispendiosas. Mas não, but not too expensive. Mas não muito dispendiosas. Dispendiosas. Muito dispendiosas. And the whole phrase, umas muletas confortáveis, mas não muito dispendiosas.
Dare I say that word probably has the same root as expenditure?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Dispendiosa simply means expensive. So expenditure seems very, very too similar to be of a separate etymological root. Good.
Sure.
Muito bem. Very well, I say. Portanto, hence, therefore. So, temos dois tipos. We have two types. Temos dois tipos. So repeat that little introduction with me. Portanto, temos dois tipos. Muito bem. Muito bem. Muito bem. Portanto, temos dois tipos. Axilares. There I say you probably won't use that word a great deal, but there we go. Axilas. Axilas.
Talvez as mulheres, maybe the women, if you go for some waxing, removing the hairs from your armpits in Portugal. Usually they do not use the common words that we would for armpits, which could be sovaco.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, sovaco.
It's very common, but it's a bit
normal
slang.
word.
It sounds. Ugh.
It sounds common.
Sounds smelly.
Right, but in the beautician salons, you will on their price list you will read axilas, which you do have an English word for.
It's a Latin word.
Axilas.
It's much more common in Portugal to use, even though it exists in English. It's much more common in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Axilares. So axilares is auxiliary. Para debaixo do braço, for under the arm. Para debaixo. You probably said it. Para debaixo do braço. Braço, arm. Está a ver?
You see?
You see? Para debaixo do braço. Está a ver?
Literally, are you seeing? Está a ver?
E as de antebraço. And the forearm ones. Although we said in the translation... Elbow, because that's what they're known as. But the literal would be... Antebraço would be forearm. E as de antebraço. Also known as Canadians crutches or canadianas. So, canadianas. Conhecidas como ou mais conhecidas como canadianas. And the whole thing. E as de antebraço ou mais conhecidas como canadianas. Qual é que prefere? Which do you prefer? Which? Qual? Qual é que prefere? Qual é que prefere? Ok?
As canadianas parecem mais confortáveis. The Canadian crutches seem to me more comfortable. As canadianas parecem-me, seem to me, parecem-me. So if I stress it, I will say parecem-me. But if I just speak it normally, I will say parecem-me. You can hear the M at the end. Parecem-me. Parecem-me mais confortáveis. Mais confortáveis. The whole phrase. As canadianas parecem mais confortáveis.
Sim, concordo. Yes, I agree. Concordo.
I concur.
I concur, yes. Also available in English. Então temos dois modelos. So that's the então using there as an easing word. So, temos dois modelos. We have two models. Temos dois modelos. Estas, so remember
These, this is plural. Because we also have the these and those, don't we?
Yes.
So, add
Estas.
the S to only the masculine and feminine form. but not the indeterminate. You'd never say istos, issos, or aquilos, but you do add the S for the masculine forms and the feminines, like estas, essas, aquelas, estes, esses, aqueles.
Estas a 32,50 €. 32,50. 32, 30 and 2. 32 euros e 50. And 50. E 50. So, estas a...
These at,
yeah. Estas a 32,50. It's a tricky one. So, de carbono,
made
of
of
carbon, e as de alumínio. And these of aluminium. Well, not these actually, and the ones of aluminium.
Yeah. E as de, I think that's like, and those of aluminium. Even though it's not.
A preço mais acessível. At a more literally accessible price, you get the meaning, more reasonable price. Okay? So let's do that. Acessível.
Accessible.
Mais acessível.
Stop telling me to get closer to the microphone. I'm sure everyone can hear me well, okay?
Mais acessível. It's a good job this is not a video podcast. Otherwise you see me doing gestures.
Yes, and me just giving you the eye or the look.
Alumínio a preço mais acessível. And then I say ficam a. There is the weird, if you don't know any Portuguese or just starting, ficam a, you think, why are you saying stay at 1990 a pair? But again, very versatile, a verb, ficar. So in this case, ficam a, basically you're saying it comes to.
Yeah, or will be.
Yeah. And often they would say that after having done the math, so having concluded everything, they would say, so, okay, ficam a, and in this case, 19, 19, 19 and 90, e 90. 19 e 90. For the pair, or the pair. O par.
You can say 19 euros, but you don't have to.
19,90 €. So let me do the whole thing once, and then you can follow me the second time. So, sim, concordo. Então temos dois modelos. Estas a 32,50 de carbono e as de alumínio a preço mais acessível. Ficam a 19,90 o par. So I'm going to do this again, but try to shadow me. In other words, do it at the same time as me. Okay? In 3, 2, 1. Sim, concordo. Então, temos dois modelos. Estas a 32,50 de carbono e as de alumínio a preço mais acessível. Ficam a 19,90 o par. Well, that was a long line.
All right, so são mesmo essas. These. No, those. Those are the ones.
Essas, yes.
Essas, yeah. São mesmo essas. Mesmo means o mesmo. If you have an article with it, o mesmo, a mesma, os mesmos, as mesmas. It means the same. But you don't have an article there, so sometimes what it means is just, well, it's there for emphasis. Often, really, the word really in English is used for the same purpose. I really like these, or these are really the ones.
Nothing to do with reality. Again, we've talked about this a few times. It's a word that stopped meaning something, but started feeling something. So it adds some more, more of a feeling
emotion
dimension to it. Yeah.
São mesmo essas. São mesmo essas. Double S, the end of essas, sh, essas. São mesmo essas. Servem perfeitamente. They serve the purpose perfectly. Or they serve perfectly. Oh, Siri has been activated.
Siri wants to talk to you, Carl.
Servem perfeitamente. What's the equivalent in English? They're perfect.
I would say that.
Yeah?
Yeah, those are perfect.
Yeah. Servem perfeitamente. São mesmo essas. Servem perfeitamente. Aceitam cartão Visa? Do you accept or take credit cards? Aceitam cartão Visa? And this is what they ask you in Portugal. Oftentimes, I used to get quite confused.
You often have two machines.
Recently.
I
don't remember that.
Yeah, last time I went, they had two machines, various shops. One for credit cards and one for debit cards. But they always say, oh, is it a Visa?
Yeah,
And
Visa meaning credit.
What?
Yeah, credit cards, cartão Visa. Because then if they mean debit cards, they will say cartão multibanco.
Multi-bank.
Yeah, which is the cash points. Multibanco, right?
It always, every time my mom speaks about this, she says, oh, but I don't like to use my Visa card, but I had to use my Visa card the other day. I'm thinking, what? Why don't you like to use your Visa card? What she means is, I don't like to use my credit card. But it's a bit like, I guess, a brand that became the name of the product. So in this case, Hoover,
vacuum cleaner.
Aceitam cartão Visa.
Yeah.
So why don't they say MasterCard? I don't know, because MasterCard is actually
easier, simpler.
Pretty
And it's probably the first one that they got in Portugal.
Maybe,
for a credit card. Don't know. Aceitam cartão Visa? Do you accept Visa credit cards? Aceitam cartão Visa?
Excellent. So it's my turn. I say com certeza, with certainty. Sure.
Surely.
Absolutely.
Surely. Certamente.
Com certeza. Com certeza. And then I ask, would you like anything else? Or literally, do you desire anything else? E deseja mais alguma coisa? So, alguma coisa. Something, thing.
Or anything. Alguma is some.
Some. Oh, yeah. Got it. Something. Alguma coisa. E deseja mais. E deseja mais alguma coisa. So the whole thing, com certeza. E deseja mais alguma coisa?
Não, é tudo. It's everything. Não, é tudo. So oftentimes when in English you have a it or you have a nit, in Portuguese there's no word for it. So you just skip it altogether. Is everything? No, is everything. And that's why sometimes you hear the Portuguese and other people from different nationalities or different countries, that broken English. When they speak, they just translating it literally off their language. And the Portuguese do that, don't they? No is everything. Is everything rather than it's everything.
It's a calc translation. Very good. So I then say certo, correct. In this case, it's more...
Not really correct. Certo, right.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. Right. Então são... So it is, or... in this case, because we're talking about... Actually, no, I was thinking, because it's two crutches, it's plural, but actually, often they will say that referring to the money. Yeah. So it's, in this case, 19, so it's more than €1. Então são, so it's 19,90. 19, e 90. 90. Por favor. And I think he, when he was doing this, Eddie, your brother, he
said it quite
sort
quickly. Por favor.
which again was natural, which is what we want. So, por favor.
Por favor.
So let's do the whole thing. Certo. Então são 19,90 por favor. Good.
All right. Okay, this is it. Podcast 22.
22 is in the can. Good. Now, I'll say that again because I didn't mention it at the beginning. But this is something that we started doing on podcast 21. But if you go to ptwithcarla.com/podcast 22, in the place where you have the dialogue, there is now the audio that you can play just for the dialogue itself. So, of course, it's beneficial to listen to the podcast and the whole explanation. But if you just don't want to do the shadowing, that is for you to pronounce the words at the same time that we do, along with us, then that would be helpful. Yeah. And it's on the loop, so you can listen to it over and over.
You know, when you listen to the podcast and you want to go back to the dialogue, you have to try and find it where it is. Then you can just actually click on that one, on that little audio section, just for the dialogue itself. So
we've thought helpful to do it because we would find this helpful if we were trying to learn.
Yes, yeah. Because you should always go back to the dialogues just to see how much you can get after all the explanation we've given.
Yeah. I guess we should thank everyone that leaves us little messages, whether that's on Twitter, that's on YouTube, or even iTunes website review. If you have the time, and who doesn't have a couple of minutes, and you enjoy the podcasts, well, why not leave us a note on iTunes or on YouTube? iTunes is quite helpful because people see that we have a few reviews. Well, at least these guys have some listeners. So that's helpful.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you very much for those who have already commented, and thank you in advance to those who will. And I actually wanted to mention something.
Go ahead, Carl. Mention something.
Have I forgotten what I wanted to mention?
Was it to do with paper towels?
Paper towels?
Ironing?
No. Ironing, you mean?
Ironing? Are you ironing?
I was going to say that with YouTube, sometimes it takes quite a long while, doesn't it, to get the video out on YouTube or the podcasts out there. But they usually, if by the end of the weekend, check it out on the actual website, because they might be there and not be on YouTube just yet for those who are actually subscribing to us on YouTube. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's always better to subscribe.
If you are eager to listen to it.
Yeah, I'll just say, add to what Carla said, it's best to subscribe to the audio version, which you can if you use an iPhone or an Android phone. Just find us Portuguese with Carla Podcast on any podcatcher, as it's known, because the audio always comes out first, and then the video, it takes a little bit of time.
That's it. Okay.
Thanks for the reminder there, Carla. Should I put the
end jingle
here? Reach out. There we go.
Okay, bye, guys. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.